Customers first, incredible quality, and affordable to all. At CVF Racing, we've been guided by those three principles since we first started doing business in 2009. And they've enabled us to become what is today the fastest growing provider of premium brackets, pulleys, and engine accessories, and one of the world's most complete selections of serpentine and V-belt kits, all of which are backed by an industry-leading lifetime warranty and the best-in-class customer service. To begin your installation of the small block Ford Beast Kit, first open each box and lay out all the pulleys, brackets, and hardware. Check the packaging list carefully to ensure that you have everything you need, and read the instructions carefully before beginning. If you haven't already done so, verify that the system you ordered is going to fit into your vehicle application. Pay special attention to the water pump, lower hose, and harmonic balancer. These two items play a crucial role in proper alignment, and make sure that what you ordered is what you have in front of you. CVF also provides dimensions for each system online for both side-to-side and depth. It's a good idea to take photos of the current setup to refer back to if needed. And lastly, remember to keep it loose. Do not tighten any bolts until the end. Things will go a lot smoother during installation if bolts are kept loose until all are started and tightened down together. To prepare, disconnect the battery. Evacuate all cooling and power steering fluids and disconnect the hoses. Disconnect all alternator and AC wiring and remove the existing drive system, including all accessories. Use a thread chaser to clean threads and deposits at the bottom of bolt holes. Inspect the crank seal and balancer inertia ring for any brittle points, damages, or gaps. Replace if necessary. Begin with attaching the alternator bracket to the water pump using a 5/16 by 5.5 inch socket head cap screw through the bracket and adjusting rod. Some water pumps have different boss heights, so we include an optional 0.52 spacer to make up the gap. From the top bolt, use the 5/16 by 3.5 inch socket head cap screw and a 0.40 by 0.625 spacer. Next, attach the relocation bracket to the alternator using 3/8 by 1 inch socket head cap screw. Hang the alternator using the 7/16 by 5.5 inch socket head cap screw with the 1.5 by 0.695 spacer between the alternator and cylinder head. Some heads have a 5/8 hole instead of a 7/16 hole, which can be handled by using a thermactor or a helicoil. Complete the installation by attaching the adjusting rod to the relocation bracket using the 3/8 by 1.25 socket head cap screw and 3/8 lock nut. Tighten all bolts except for the ones that will need to move during belt tensioning. The next step will depend on whether you're only adding power steering or also doing AC. If installing AC, do the AC bracket installation first. Otherwise, proceed to the power steering installation. To start the AC installation, begin by assembling the AC bracket with 3/8 by 1.25 inch socket head cap screws. Attach the bracket to the cylinder head using two 7/16 by 1.25 inch socket head cap screws and torque to 45 foot-pounds. Mount the AC compressor to the bracket with the 3/8 by 6 inch socket head cap screw and 3/8 lock nut. For serpentine systems with clockwise rotation water pump, use the 0.312 spacer. This spacer will vary if using the bracket in V-belt applications. Attach the adjusting rod to the compressor with the 3/8 inch by 5 inch socket head cap screw by fitting it between the 1.68 inch and 1.04 inch spacers and tighten with the 3/8 inch lock nut. Attach the adjusting rod to the water pump. This can vary between water pumps, so we provide you with a 2 inch, 2.5 inch, and 3 inch 5/16 socket head cap screw and a 0.52 spacer. The angle of the adjusting rod should be close to perpendicular, but it is not critical. Mount the idler pulley to the bracket using the 3/8 by 2.25 inch hex head bolt and 3/8 washer. Use permanent strength Loctite on this bolt and torque to spec. Move on to power steering. Attach the main bracket to the water pump using a 5/16 by 3.5 inch socket head cap screw and either a 1.52 or 1.15 spacer for the top bolt and a 5/16 by 5.5 inch socket head cap screw and a 1.52 or 1.15 spacer for the bottom bolt. These spacers will vary depending on boss height of the water pump. Mount the power steering pump to the main bracket on the bottom bolt using the 3/8 by 1.25 inch hex head bolt with a washer underneath the bolt head and a .52 spacer between the bracket and pump. For the top bolt, use the 3/8 by 1.5 hex head bolt and 3 washers, 1 underneath the bolt head and 2 between the bracket and pump. Attach the rear support bracket to the cylinder head using the 7/16 inch by 2 inch hex head bolt and 1 inch aluminum spacer with the spacer between the bracket and cylinder head. If using CVF Racing AC bracket, then delete the 1 inch spacer and replace with 7/16 washer and AC bracket components. Attach the rear support bracket to the power steering pump using 3/8 by 1.5 inch socket head cap screw and a .75 aluminum spacer with the spacer between the bracket and the pump. With all the brackets installed, it's time to install the pulleys. Remove the old alternator pulley and fan from the alternator. Make sure that the bearing spacer is on the shaft and install the new alternator fan and pulley with the washer and nut removed from the old fan and pulley. Attach the alternator cap using the supplied screws. Install the crank pulley using the supplied 3/8 socket head cap screw and torque to spec. Install the water pump pulley. These are simple 5/16 fine thread bolts that can be found at most hardware stores in varying lengths to accommodate the fan spacer length you choose. Install the power steering pulley. If using a keyway style pump, check to make sure that the key stays in place until the pulley is fully seated. Lastly, install the belts depicted in the CVF catalog or website images for your system. Set proper belt tension and tighten remaining bolts and torque spec. Install the idler pulley cap. At CVF Racing, we pride ourselves on delivering customer service that is nothing short of legendary. If you ever have an issue with one of our products, we'll bend over backwards to make sure that you're satisfied.